Hey guys! So, sorry about what happened with missing the beginning of the live stream at 3 o'clock. That was not supposed to happen, but I've been battling a UTI and a whole bunch of other issues, and I kind of fell asleep around 10 o'clock and didn't wake up until about 10 minutes ago. Anyway, this is a really special live stream. It's not like my normal live streams. I'm not actually reading from a book. I'm talking about a book. So as most of you know, I'm a freelance author who has written 3 full-length young adult novels, multiple literary journal articles, and 3 separate blogs. I'm also a professional patient, and I've been given at the most 12 months to live. I'm here to give you the background tour of what went into writing my latest novel, Changing Destiny's Destiny. In alternating viewpoints of Destiny and her mother Bonnie, you gain secret access to the taboo world of child and adolescent psychiatric residential treatment centers. It's a world most people don't even know exists. It's a world with more points, rules, phases, and level systems than most complicated video games. Suffering from a rare genetic condition called Syndrome XX, 17-year-old Destiny is prevented from aging past 8 years old. She is 4'9", 66 pounds, and hasn't hit puberty yet. Her favorite, hi Dave, his favorite things to do are playing with the dollhouse and feeding mini brands to her build bears. Yet she has a genius level IQ and is working on AP calculus and math class. Just like Destiny, I too am happiest when playing with my toys and love math, reading, and writing. Plus, so far, I have retained an IQ in the 150s, which is in the genius zone. Years ago, I saw a show on TV with children who will remain the size and mentality of infants forever. Those children did not retain a genius level IQ or develop schizoaffective disorder or significant medical complications. There are only about 5 children with Syndrome X in the world today. So far, I still have baby teeth in my mouth. No 12-year-old molars have come into my mouth yet, and I don't grow hair anywhere except on my head. The bones in my legs are dark and spongy, and the growth plates haven't fused yet on x-ray. I've actually grown an inch in the last 3 years, while an adult leg's bone is lighter colored, solid, and the growth plates have fused. I am happiest when playing with my toys. Also, like Destiny, I have retained an IQ of the 150s, which is in the genius zone. While I know something is wrong with me, I don't know exactly what it is. Hold on, guys. I'm just trying to get someone into the page that's a little lost. So give me 1 second. Let's see. We're trying to help Vivian get on here. Let's get our friend Vivian on here. Okay. I know something's wrong with me, so I put all the pieces together and invented my own syndrome. Syndrome XX. I ran with the theme of Syndrome XX and decided it was also the cause of Destiny's severe medical complications like dysautonomia and gastroparesis, which leaves her unable to eat from mouth or tolerate tube feedings. She is completely dependent on IV nutrition, IV hydration, and mostly IV medication. The medication that she can't take intravenously goes through her J tube. I have the exact same issues. But in addition, I am probably getting an ileostomy soon as I have total digestive tract failure from my esophagus to my rectum. Carrying the Syndrome XX theme even further, I also attribute Destiny's struggles with schizoaffective disorder to her syndrome as well. Looking back, I can trace the development of my childhood onset schizoaffective disorder to age 5. In the book, Destiny also starts running into mental health issues around age 5. For both Destiny and myself, it started with just the chorus. In Changing Destiny's Destiny, the chorus is a group of male and female voices that Destiny can't differentiate from each other. Sometimes they're all yelling, sometimes they're all whispering, and sometimes they're all laughing. This is the same way the chorus works for me as well. I call them the chorus in both Changing Destiny's Destiny and Was I Normal and in my own head. When I was 5, I thought everyone heard something like the chorus. That was only unique to them. So I never brought it up. As kindergarten progressed, I also started hearing the narrator. In Changing Destiny's Destiny, I refer to him as the storyteller. He began narrating everything I was thinking, feeling, and doing. Eventually, he started narrating what he wanted me to do and making me feel helplessly compelled to go along with it, or I would be sucked into Kaide and O'Day's world. I refer to Kaide in Changing Destiny's Destiny. I refer to Kaide and O'Day as one character, the bad man. Just like Kaide and O'Day, the bad man is very angry, violent, and threatening, and tries to get Destiny to engage in activities that could seriously harm her, if not end her life. When I am sucked into Kaide and O'Day's world, I rapidly lose contact with everyone else's reality. The yelling and screaming and clamoring in my head is too loud. Sometimes the hallucinations are very random. The other day, I was lying in my hospital bed at home while my nurse was in the living room and the nurse's station prepping my 5 p.m. meds when I swore I heard her arguing with 2 French Canadian men trying to sell her a new vacuum cleaner. I would have bet you $100 that I heard her swearing at them, telling them to stick the vacuum cleaner up their butts and get their rear ends out of there. But when she came in my room, she looked at me bewildered as I asked her about it. Other times, I will hear the sounds of children talking and laughing coming from the living room, sending my nurse out to check and see if they are there, and then having trouble believing her when she tells me there are no kids out there. I start coming up with all these paranoid thoughts. When I'm fully sucked into Kaide and O'Day's world, I can't tell the difference between reality and hallucinations. I can't even reality test. Sorry, freezing cold. It is freezing cold in their world. What makes it worse is that Kaide will repetitively put his cold fingers down my spine and make hissing noises. His fingers send chills throughout my whole body. Everything is two-dimensional and full of fog and mist and static in their world. My thoughts come in and out rapidly, like Kodak snapshots taken in a row that immediately fall on the floor and get forgotten. If I try to focus on something in reality, it's almost like a set of bars come down between me and the rest of the world. And no matter how hard I try to get through it, I just keep hearing the clanging of those bars slamming down in front of me. The only thing that brings me back to reality are secrets you'll have to find by reading the book. After too much near lethal behavior, Destiny's parents are forced to turn her care over to the State Department of Mental Health, DMH, and start the search for a long term residential treatment program placement for her. In the meantime, Destiny becomes convinced that her parents are going to die if she lives past her 17th birthday. A tit for a tat, a life for a life, trade your life in like trading cards, the chorus sings before dissolving into peals of laughter. Destiny finds a feeding tube syringe and a bottle of soda that she hides in her room. After her mom gives her meds through a J tube, she scurries up to her room where she uses her syringe hooked up to her NJ tube to pull all her meds back out and squirt them into the soda bottle until she collects a lethal amount of meds to push back into her NJ tube all at once. But she never gets that far. Again, this happened to me as well. Once I started draining back out all my meds, I began deteriorating so quickly, both physically and mentally. My pain went through the roof without any pain meds on board, and I was constantly so nauseous without my liquid Phenergan that I began dry heaving. Sometimes the dry heaving would be so powerful that I would need to get it replaced at the children's procedure unit, that I would vomit back up the NJ tube. I would need to get it replaced at the children's procedure unit. No one could figure out the cause of this. I never said a thing. No, without my meds for my bladder spasms, I stopped peeing on my own completely. My urologist had to teach my mom how to straight catheterize me 5 to 6 times a day, where you insert the catheter, drain out the bladder, and then remove the catheter. My blood pressure dropped almost into the negatives. I also developed a heart rate as high as 180s while lying down. In addition, I began having horrible acid reflux and kept getting aspiration pneumonia from it. My seizures began occurring more rapidly and were getting more severe. All of this was due to my medical meds not being in my system. Without my psych meds, I was highly agitated again. The paranoia was intense. I felt like I could trust no one, not even myself, and constantly thought I heard people talking about me. I was still 100% convinced that I had to kill myself within 6 months and was spending most of my time in Kaida Node's world. My thoughts were so scribbled up, I barely knew who I was. I didn't really know if I was human or not. As Destiny deteriorates further and further, her behaviors become more and more lethal. Her parents know she can't stay home much longer. It's too risky. But the Jackson Center is the only psychiatric residential treatment center for children and adolescents that will take a teenager as medically complex as Destiny within a 400-mile radius. The problem is that the Jackson Center won't have any available beds for months. Terrified by Destiny's erratic behavior, they have her admitted to Haverford Hospital, a locked medical psychiatric unit for kids, until a bed becomes available at the Jackson Center. This part of the book continues to parallel my life as well. One day, my mom showed up for a meeting at my special therapeutic school. My therapist, along with 2 support room staff, led me into my therapist's office, where they told me a bed had become available at McLean's highly acclaimed early onset psychosis program. I was terrified of being hospitalized and prevented from killing myself before my birthday. My intense horror threw me directly into Kaid and O'Day's world. The next thing I knew, I was strapped to a stretcher in the local ER. The ambulance my therapist had called to bring me to the early onset psychosis program insisted that I needed to be taken to the closest medical facility first and then could be transferred to the program. Then the nurse at the ER told my mom that I had to be medically cleared before I could be transferred anywhere. 5 hours later, a doctor came in, ordered an injection of Haldol, listened to my heart and lungs, and pronounced me medically cleared. By then, the spot in the program had been taken. Instead, I waited over 12 hours for a spot to become available at a pediatric medical psych unit that I had been to 3 times. Destiny and I spent 3 long months in the hospital waiting for a bed to become available at the residential treatment program. Hang on, guys, sorry. When Destiny is finally transferred to the center from the hospital, there is a glitch. Only Destiny's earliest records are sent. The notes are from her lengthy psychological testing with Dr. Wallace the year before, confirming a diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder. Most of the age notes are from St. Mary's Hospital, the first psychiatric hospital she was ever admitted to, or from Joanne, one of her earliest therapists, or Windtree Hospital, a hospital she had been admitted to 3 times. But after her first admission as a 13-year-old, their opinions had become set in stone. These early notes use words like manipulative, attention-seeking, passive-aggressive, and compulsive liar. I made up the parts about the glitch in the records being sent over. The Jackson Center received all my records, but for some reason focused on the ones diagnosing me with borderline personality disorder and being manipulative and attention-seeking. They just glazed right over the volumes of records and testing diagnosing me with childhood onset schizoaffective disorder starting at age 10. Oh, the blonde doll to my right, David? This is Evan. He is my newest baby. Isn't he a cutie? Say hi, Evan. Hi, Mommy. Sorry, Evan, you can say hi, even as his own baby, Vinky. That's Evan. Based on only those records, the Jackson Center slaps her with the borderline personality disorder label before she even walks through the door. Then they develop a care plan that sets Destiny up for failure, into leading her to spiral into the depths of psychosis and institutionalism. I made up the part about the glitch in the records being sent over. The treatment center I was at received all my records. Oh, I read that. No, I didn't. I did. The center that I was at also came up with a cruel and punitive care plan that shouldn't have been legal. It completely set me up for failure for the rest of my time at the treatment facility and almost irreversibly lost me to a tailspin into psychosis and institutionalism. If my parents had not intervened the way they did, I would probably be drooling on myself in the back ward of some state hospital right now. I can't give any more away, but you can buy the ebook of Changing Destiny's Destiny by going to my website, www.chronicallyalive.org, and clicking on the tab labeled Store. Scroll down a tiny bit until you see the words Featured Products. Under there is a picture of a girl in a hospital gown hugging a white teddy bear. Beneath that, it says Changing Destiny's Destiny, the full novel. Click on the picture to read the description and click Add to Bag, and then it will walk you through the checkout process. I accept all currencies, major credit card and debit card, PayPal and PayPal credit. The book only costs $14.99, but if you go back to the main menu and click on the coupon page, you can get a coupon to get a free chapter of any other one of my books free when you purchase a copy of Changing Destiny's Destiny. You also have the option of just buying one or two chapters of the book from the store for $1.99 each if you don't want to buy the whole book right away or can't afford it all at once. Who knows? Maybe you'll read a couple chapters and decide to buy the whole book. You can just head back to my site at www.chronicallyalive.org. I'm typing it in here right now. And click on the tab that says Store. Then you can browse through all the chapters. Changing Destiny's Destiny drives home the point that having a mental illness doesn't immediately inoculate you against physical illness. They can occur at the same in the same person at the same time. I also want to warn people about the dangers that can lurk behind child and adolescent psychiatric residential treatment programs and bring attention to rare diseases that people don't know much about. In addition, I want this book to spread awareness around chronic physical and mental illness and instill hope, inspiration, and validation in both my readers suffering from similar issues and their families, as well as the general public. I also want to let you guys know that I'm starting doing podcasts of Saving Destiny, Changing Destiny's Destiny. You can go to www.chronicallyalive.net and buy one of the podcasts where I read aloud the chapters of the most up-to-date version of Changing Destiny's Destiny. And you can purchase the podcast and listen to the podcast to hear the whole novel read aloud if you're interested in that. I would be so thrilled if you bought a copy of Changing Destiny's Destiny or one of the podcasts or chapters, or at least some chapters. Don't forget www.chronicallyalive.org/store or www.chronicallyalive.net for the podcast. My goal is to get as much of my writing out into the world as possible before I pass, so that my short stay on this planet will have meant something, and my writing will be my legacy. By buying this book or these podcasts, you are helping make my final dreams come true. And that is the end of this live stream. Does anyone have any comments or anything? Any questions, comments, anything anyone wants to say? Anything, guys? What did you think of the comparison between my life and the book? What did you think of Destiny's summary, the summary of the book? Thank you, Dave. Thanks, Vivian. No other comments? No other comments? I guess I'll end here if there's no other comments. Keep your eyes out for the podcast on chronicallyalive.net. Thank you so much, Christina. I really appreciate you saying that. Really appreciate that. We'll keep an eye out for more live streams of Was Ever Normal. Keep an eye out for the podcast. If you can, please buy the book. I would love it if you bought the book. It would be so amazing if you bought the book. And otherwise, I'll end this live stream here. Thanks, guys. Love you all.